Hey, welcome to Comics Covered episode 6. I'll get this sound thing eventually figured out. How you doing, Matt? I see Matt's muted.
Computers, you know?
If only we owned a tech company that did computing stuff. How's it
Yeah.
going?
A little under the weather, but hey, we're hanging in there. So, good luck to everyone watching. You're not going to get our best.
Yeah, Matt's a bit sick, and I came back from the dentist yesterday and had like a ton of filling work done, and so half of my face is in pain, but we'll make it happen.
Just leave now, and I'm just kidding.
Good start. Today we are talking about a few things. We're going to talk about Superman's new super suit, some DCU stuff, some MCU stuff. Was there anything else?
I mean, that's enough.
Oh, and also we're going to be giving away Feral #1. Do you want? And it's funny.
The ash can, the preview ash can that was only sent to retailers.
Yeah, so the real world, according to Ben, was here way before anybody else and just asked, how do I win the ash can? At the end of the show, we're going to give a way to enter a giveaway, and we'll give it away at the end of the show. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, it's a pretty cool title and pretty cool cover. I didn't realize it was the ash can. That's fun.
Yeah, no, it has about a $75 aftermarket value, so which is great.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So aside from being sick, anything else new with you, my friend?
No, just trying. We're putting out more. We had a lot of fun. Our market report was a lot of fun today. With a whole bunch of fun shakers. So I definitely. Let's see. Can we drop links in here? I think we can drop links.
In the chat. You can in comments.
Here, I'll drop the link for that if I can find it.
Cool.
Yeah, we had a fun article today, there was a bunch of really cool sales this week.
Here, why don't we take a look at it real quick? I'll pull it up.
Yeah, bring it up.
Let's see.
We also had a fun reflective this week. So I'll join the chat. There we go.
All right. Is it the weekly shaker report?
Yeah, weekly shaker report.
Nice. All right. So
I'm trying to connect as we. This is great. This is great TV. This is great content right here.
I'll go to the comments. Everybody who's listening and watching, let's talk comics. Indeed, we are trying to.
All right. Apparently, I can't drop the comments. Oh wait, here we go. There we go. Done. Boom. All right. Nice. Yeah, if you guys have a chance, check it out. There's a lot of fun stuff. Yeah, that David Mack Abe Sapien. That's a really hard book to find. One of my favorite covers. I actually have several favorite covers on this list. The Astonishing X-Men Mark Brooks Psylocke cover.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a good cover.
Did that one have a crazy sale or something? Oh, so for 173. Oh, cool.
Yeah, Roth, just for the trade dress, which is kind of crazy. That book just keeps slowly climbing quietly. It doesn't get a ton of like social media attention, which is interesting. But it just keeps moving. And I think it's just one of those books that people, a lot of people just want and then go after. Yeah. There's
awesome.
And the print run's not small. So I mean, like, I think the trade dress, this cover is limited to 3,000 copies. So It goes again, like something that we always talk about during these articles is that you say 1,000 print run, it sounds big. A lot of people stay away from it. But just a handful of years, usually 5 or more years, it really proves that some of this stuff can really trend despite whatever the print run is. And we talk about books that are, there's so many books that are under 500, which is kind of crazy. Down the road, some of these books would just be impossible to find. It's just hard to fathom it because you think about all the exclusives that are coming out. There's just so much. It's just a fire hose of variants these days. It's impossible to kind of navigate because also so many of them feature amazing art. Like you look at all the stuff that Dynamite puts out. There's some great covers that they put out on a weekly basis. It's just there's 50 of them, you know. So it's kind of like, and then there's all these alternate versions of every cover. So it is really hard to navigate and figure out what that next big thing is. Ultimately, it just falls back to, you know, buying the cover that you like. If you love a cover, most likely someone else will, especially down the road. And I kind of find that to be really true because, I mean, I have a set of this that I picked up at San Diego Comic-Con, and it was just, I had to have it. That was it. I didn't care if it had value or if it didn't have value. I just wanted it.
That's the way to do it.
Don't go broke buying these variants. Like we tell people, like take these opportunities to look for these things in the wild. You know, I know not every store is going to have them, but you'd be surprised at like if you put the energy out there. This is going to be some hippie talk, but you put the energy out there, that book will find its way to you more often than not. Especially you'll buy one and then you'll find it at the shop for like $20 like a week later.
Did you just say put the energy out there?
Put the energy out there and let the book come to you, right? Yeah. And believe me, like patience is a virtue in this in collecting. If you want a book, wait for the price that you want. Like, you know, I know this book is climbing and there's a sense of urgency to that, but you know, at a convention, you might find it for a good price. You might be willing to trade. Yeah, it's manifesting bucks. Yeah, it's kind of we are collectors. I'm especially a collector of like rare books. Recalled books are my jam. I don't know. It was about 6 months ago. We wrote about an Elseworlds 80-page giant where Superman is the Superman as a baby in the microwave story, you know. It's a $200 raw book. I found it in the dollar bin literally 3 weeks after we wrote about it, you know, just covering it. It was just sitting there. It's one of those things where you don't believe it and you pop it open and it's like, wow, you know. Well, so there is something to it. Comic karma, I believe, is also a good thing if we want to go into comic karma.
I think all of it, like I've noticed when I am working on like new releases or something, I go into the shop and I'll see all the new releases and I think they're really, I'm like, oh, I have to get that one. But it's only because I keep seeing the images. So I wonder if...
I mean, but again, if there's a cover you like and it's at a price you don't mind, you know, go for it. But yeah, resist the urgency to like race online and buy. That's not the whole point of this stuff. It's just to kind of, you know, when we cover it, we want to cover these high prices and then give an explanation of why we think it's kind of not really whether it's worth it, but a little backstory onto why it might be increasing in value. We have a class. I mean, Dave Stevens is a classic example. I mean, DNA Agents was on the list this week, and I mean, what did it sell for? $875 in the 9.8. It's DNA Agents number 24. The rainbow-haired Dave Stevens girl cover. Yeah,
this one. Yeah,
I mean, you could have picked that book up literally 2 years ago for $5-10 any day, and now it's $150 to $200 raw. I remember do not buy Dave Stevens books in the aftermarket right now. Like resist.
Well, you were at a WonderCon and you were asking for this for DNA Agents, and I think one guy had it, right? That guy from
no, I have that one actually signed by Dave Stevens, which is nice. But I bought that 5 years ago, you know. There is like right now looking for Dave Stevens in the wild is key, like especially at your local comic shop. You might not find this one, but you might find another, you know, some of his other covers, which are all doing well. Again, take these times to go digging. I mean, antique markets, flea markets, man, those are ripe for covers like these because these will be in their dollar boxes. I'm not like you'll say $1, you know, who's having these in their dollar boxes anymore. You would, you know, we know how these people work. A lot of these people have been bringing the same boxes to these things for like 10 years. So definitely, again, the point is not to rush out and buy these unless you find it for a good price.
Well,
yeah.
Speaking of buying comics, one thing I just wanted to point out today was we did an update on the new release section that I think is going to make everyone's life a little bit better. So, first of all, the page now loads with the most, the publisher with the most items at the top. Before, it would kind of load with some of the independents, and you'd have to scroll down to get to other parts of it. So now, as soon as you get there, you're going to see Marvel or DC or Image or one of the big five, and then of course you could scroll down to see more. You can still sort by top estimated value, but the cool thing is we added this little add button. So let's say you go down to your comic shop and you bought a bunch of stuff. You can now, instead of going one at a time, you can select, say, as many as you want, the whole thing, all of them at once if you wanted to. And you can add either to your wish list all at once, or you can go to your collection. So if I said add to my collection, I'd say these are all raw. Hopefully they're 9/8 because they're brand new and I treat them very nicely. You hit add and all of those get added to your collection. You can either click on it right there to go to it, or you could go straight to your collection. And then if you wanted to, you can say, okay, sort by recently added to collection. And boom, all the ones I just added are right there. You can go further in and add more information about each one if you want, but you already added the grade and everything, so you're set to go.
I believe we're adding an FOC section eventually that will work that same way. So that way you can add stuff to your wish list as so you can monitor when they come out.
Yeah, no, 100%. We're trying to work on actually some pre-sale stuff, so you'll be able to go maybe 1 or 2 weeks in the future, and then also an FOC list, and probably one of the most comprehensive ones probably out there, because our team of content managers are going through and finding those and adding those and everything. So that's coming.
But most importantly, you can sort by highest price. Did you already show that?
Yeah, well, I didn't show it yet, but here you can actually click on estimated value.
This is my favorite feature, is that you can sort by the highest value. Now this does include store exclusive, so it's not just in-store features. In-store books are incentives and cover A's and cover B's. So it does include everything. But it definitely gives you a barometer of what's trending. And the whole point of this is like you kind of get a sense of some of the books. If you walk into your store and your store is charging $20 for this, and it's, you may have not known unless you perused this or was, paying attention to online chatter. Like that Tula LaToy cover for, what was that series called at the very top there? The first row, all the way up.
Am I being blind here? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that Tula LaToy cover. What series was that?
Armory?
I never remember. Amori War. Yeah. Anyways, that cover is gorgeous.
But now you can literally go, I want that one this week. Go to your wish list, stick it in the wish list, boom. And then when it's added, you just go to your collection, and when you go down to your shop, you're able to just click on the wish list and see everything that you wanted to bring in, right?
What are the latest prices on that? By the way, we just did our day after Wednesday, and I haven't gone back. I was like, it's at it's third, fourth position there, which is kind of crazy. That means there was $100 sale. 50. Okay.
The last one was about 50, and then we had 63 was the highest.
Yeah, it's about that price.
Still climbing.
Anyways, you also skipped over my favorite book on our Shaker report, but we could come to that on another.
Well, we should probably get to what we were going to talk about.
Yeah,
today.
but it was He-Man Masters of the Universe with She-Ra. You skipped over a She-Ra cover.
Okay, let's go back to it, because Matt loves She-Ra. Matt loves.
I do love She-Ra. I love Masters of the Universe. So it's kind of it's also my absolute favorite book in my collection.
Where was it?
Although I never tell my writers what to cover this, because I want you to. Luckily, they raised their hands for it. So
you think Matt just loves all comics, so everything is okay.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
Where is it?
But yeah, it was.
I love that cover.
It's the very end. It's the Bobby made it the key of the week.
Oh, okay, there it is. Oh yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah, it's such a good cover. Terry Dodson.
That is cool. I forgot that she wrote a unicorn.
Yeah. Oh my God, am I going to be put on the spot with the unicorn's name is?
Was it like Cringer, where it's like it's
no?
scared?
Yes. It's a regular white horse, and blast it with their sword and turns into Pegasus. Oh my god, I'm gonna blank on the I can't think of the unicorn's name. Someone will drop it in. We'll have some will help me out because my brain's a fog right now.
Yeah,
anywho, we got
medicine right now.
Yeah, we got a lot to cover. We got a lot of so the one thing we want to kind of hash out it's so funny, like a lot of conversations out of Free Comic Book Day was like comics are back, because I guess a lot of stores had a very successful Free Comic Book Day, which helped because there was a lot of great entries, and we had our show last week was all about those. So if you missed it, we highlighted some of our favorites and some of the most valuable the weeks before, or not the weeks before, sorry, the years before. And there were some really cool, very pricey Free Comic Book Day books. So definitely check that out.
Yeah.
But right now we're getting back into, after COVID and after theatrical films were struggling, and then we have there was a cycle of strikes in the industry. It, like, a lot of people felt that the market was down, and primarily it was because not much was happening in terms of content. Content is a big pot stirrer for aftermarket sales and for getting people in shops. When anything's announced, there's immediate response to go get that book. We always say, go to your shop. Don't go online unless you're like the first one there and you get it for like $1.
Right.
Try to stay away from the height of the market. But we're definitely seeing we're kind of getting into now. We're getting all these glimpses of Superman. We're going to get more revelations of what's going to be happening in the film, and probably more revelations of what's going to be happening in the DCU. We just had Sean Levy just made a comment about how the last since Endgame, the MCU films have been disappointing, or the MCU content has been disappointing. And this week we just got a release that Marvel's going to take down. They're going to cut their films to 3? Well, I got to go to I took a note here. What did they say? It was going to be 3 a year. No, it was like, I think it was like 3 films. I completely lost my note here. I believe it was 3 films a year and 2 TV shows. It was Bob Iger who made the comment. So, like, if someone could, Swiftwind. Thank you, Love for Comics. Jeez.
Yes, Spirit turned into Swiftwind.
Swiftwind.
Now we know.
We
know. So, Matt, what do you think
what's that?
What do you think of the new Superman suit? Let's talk on the topic.
I know I'm derailing. I was going to look at Bob Iger's comment because it is pretty. It is pretty.
Well, we'll get to the MCU and DCU roster in a second.
Yeah.
Coming up.
But so the Superman costume, I know. I mean, it's interesting, right? Like every Superman and Batman are those evergreen brands that could have a new film, a new aesthetic, a new actor, every 10 years, and this will be the way it is for eternity, right? And it could keep cycling out.
Like James Bond, they just changed the
it is like it is, for sure. Yeah. And we'll show up for it. And that's the thing. Like, whether you like the costume or not, we're all going to be there, day one.
For everyone who's listening, can we get either a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the costume just to get a sense of what you guys think? I mean, personally,
and I do that. What's your opinion on it? I'll share my opinion after.
I like it because, well, there's a couple things. So what people have been talking about is one, the sigil, right? The Kingdom Come kind of sigil is kind of cool. I like that it's more abstract rather than a big S. I think the S always kind of looks cheesy. So it looks more of like it could be a Kryptonian kind of glyph of some sort. So I like that. I like that they're introducing the New 52 collar. Like if we go back to like this, New 52 collar elements, super cool. It makes your neck, when you're a big buff guy, your neck, I think if it's all long and lanky, it looks weird. So like this just is like too much. It's almost like a tank top that you're hanging out in, like the classic Superman thing. So I think that's kind of cool. The weird lines, the fact that it's not CGI'd and like it's actually bunchy and kind of all weird. I kind of like it. You know, it doesn't need to. He's a big buff guy. You know, he doesn't need to like wear spandex to show it. Like we know it. It's there. I don't know. Does that? I mean,
and he's also the most notable thing is that he's the tallest actor to ever play Superman.
Yeah. What's his name? Cornsweat.
God.
David Cornsweat.
Yeah.
Right.
He's 6'3", so
no,
he's
6'4". 6'4".
Oh, 6'4".
Yeah, he's giant.
Yeah, he's like Ben Affleck 6'4" too, right? For his Batman.
Is Ben Affleck? Oh, I didn't know that. I thought he looked.
Yeah. I mean, Ben Affleck actually might be taller. I'll do a Google
with his '90s hair and like Chasing Amy. He was.
Taller. Oh no, Ben Affleck's only 6'2". All right, never mind. Gee.
Yeah, this guy's giant.
Yeah, so he's going to be a big Superman.
I mean, Henry Cavill was only 6'1". So,
yeah. I mean,
only 6'1". I say that like it's only.
It doesn't matter when it's on film because camera tricks and stuff. I mean, Tom Cruise once played what's this dude? The oh my god, the army cop Reacher, Jack Reacher, right? And Jack Reacher in the books is like 6'6". Like him and Tom Cruise is like,
he doesn't fit on airplanes. It's hard for him to get in a compact car. Yeah, that's all the things off screen.
That was a little hard to, but I mean, all in all, I'm interested to see what they do. And also, you never know where they're going to go. This could be the costume at the end of the film. It could be the costume at the beginning of the film. They've hinted at the fortress. So costume change he might have, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they always ruin the costume and then it comes back. What do you think about what's going on behind him?
Well, I mean, Concrete Windows had a good point. World ending in the background, and he's just casually putting on his boots. It has been a huge meme generator, and I wonder if they thought about that, when they're doing it, because I mean, it's just there. It's there for the taking, and there is some power in that going viral, and people having fun for it. I mean, there's been a ton of memes with this.
I saw one with Godzilla has that pink thing now because of
so
they had Godzilla. He's fighting Godzilla in this one, and I mean the big.
Obviously, he's not too worried about it. So I mean,
he just had a fight.
He can't save everyone all the time.
I mean, he's just a guy. He's just a guy. He's just a super guy. Checking his shoes for spiders. Like we all do.
Right. He seems really pissed about something. He's like, I got to save these ants again.
I bet he has kryptonite in his boot. That's what's going on.
Yeah. And anywho, but what I think they were trying to do. So the inspiration behind this Superman is actually All-Star Superman, which was definitely a more relaxed, casual Superman, if you will. It was a more at peace with his place in the world.
I like that Superman. He looked pudgier. He looked just big and round.
Well, that was Quitely. That's his art style is that really creates that. And I think they kind of tried to bring that aesthetic in here, which I think he's going to be a much more subdued Superman. What that means, who knows? But
we glossed over or didn't even mention the most important part of the suit, though. The tidy whities on the outside. He's going to actually be the classic underwear wearing Superman instead of the.
Maybe you can't really tell exactly.
It's in there. I'll zoom in on his crotch for everybody. There you go.
He could have a part of his cape hanging over. Like he could have pulled it underneath and tucked,
I don't know. I'm seeing the yellow belt.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see.
Anywho, we don't have to harp on this too much, but I actually like the collar.
It could be like this. It could be the classic Nick Cage never got made Superman costume.
If you haven't heard Kevin Smith's retelling of this whole event, it's fantastic. I mean, just him with what was the producer? Is it Josh Peters or I forget I think it was his name. Anyways, the producer Peters. He was obsessed with having a giant spider in this film, and when it fell apart, he was talking about how he went to the film to go, went to the movie. Kevin Smith went to the movies to see Wild Wild West, and then the film was a giant spider. That was the film. It was the film that Peters also produced. So he got a giant spider in there.
He had some discount CGI he wanted to use or something.
Yeah, seeing him in the Flash was interesting. It was interesting. Yeah, the CGI was a little disappointing. I was really excited about that appearance, but it was. They could have done a little bit better. They could have had him in it. I don't know why they just didn't invite him back and put him in the costume. Let him have his like moment of glory. That would have been pretty cool. They should have just done that. In hindsight, you know. But all in all, you know, I'm excited about the DCU. I know a lot of people are iffy on Gunn, but you think about like all the stuff that's been successful. I mean, the fact that he took Guardians of the Galaxy and turned it into, you know, this team that even comic fans weren't really highly aware of, and made a talking tree. It made you cry about a talking raccoon in a non-verbal tree. You know.
I definitely that got to the feelers for sure.
So I think there's going to be a lot of heart. I mean, he's bringing a lot of top brass into this stuff. They just showed a picture with, you know, all the DC influencers, you know, created on the comic book side, showing up to the set. So I don't think they're consulting the right people on this stuff.
Well, I like that I mean, okay, so MCU kind of fizzled out a little bit in terms of like quality, not quantity. Definitely, there's a lot of stuff coming out, but quality kind of got it, and they've been, you know, hearing that. But DCU, I mean, I like you said, I love that James Gunn is taking the reins. And so here's like the slate, right? Like from what I was seeing, like everything else is Elseworld, right? Joker, Batman, all that stuff doesn't even belong anymore, right? So that's like kind of standalone, own little universe. But in the main Gods and Monsters Chapter 1, right, thing, they're going to do Creature Commandos, which is an animated TV show, which looks good. A TV show or movie? Do you know, Matt?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's a movie.
Yeah. Animated series, TV animated series.
Oh, animated series. Yeah.
So they're going to do that. Then they're going to go to Paradise Lost, which is all about Paradise Island, Themyscira, where Wonder Woman's from.
Themyscira, yeah.
And
it's the history of Themyscira before Wonder Woman.
But that's going to be a TV show, so it's not like, you know, feature length. But still, it's good.
Game of Thrones with Wonder Woman, you know, Themyscira.
Yeah. Someone was saying it's going to be like Game of Thrones with women everywhere, basically. So it's going to be like. Who said? Oh, you just said. Oh my God, I'm sorry. My brain is like totally. It's the dentistry.
Unagi.
Sorry. Thank you. What about Waller? What do you think of that? Have you heard anything?
I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of. I've never been a huge fan of Waller in the comics or in terms of in the Suicide Squad stuff. Right. But I'm sure it'll be fun. You know, I mean, there's going to be a tie to her and the Authority for sure. So the fact that there's whatever takes me to the Authority, I'm good with. I mean, Brave and the Bold. The fact that they have such a fun logo, I don't know if that's official.
No, I don't know if that's official, but this
is the official logo.
But Damian Wayne's going to be in it, right?
Yeah.
This is one with him and the son. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Kind of changing the whole dynamic of Batman instead of like a Robin-y character. Like the later Batmans have been mostly just referenced to Robin, but to actually have one and not like be a Joe Schumacher Batman Forever or Batman and Robin. Right. Should be interesting. It'd be cool to see that dynamic and then grow out the Bat family. That gives him a lot of room for that.
Well, you know, Batman's always kind of been the dick of DC, right? He's been like, you know, and now, but his son Damian Wayne is like he's pretty awful in the beginning, but you grow to love him because he's just like, you know, a no bullshit version of Batman, which you didn't even think there was such a thing. Which is why the future Damian as Batman stuff, Grant Morrison stuff, is so good. He's such an interesting Batman.
I always like it when they make like little kids like more mature or more adult than they should be. Like it's like he's this assassin who's killed a ton of people and he's like 9, 10. Well,
Yeah.
probably older.
The dynamic behind it is going to be a lot of fun. Booster Gold will be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, Booster Gold.
The Lanterns detective thing. I like Guy. I don't know too many people who are diehard Guy Gardner fans.
I don't know anyone who is, to be honest. But
well, I mean, he's been around for as long as he was. He was technically the first guy, first Green Lantern when we were kids. And then Kyle Radner came in pretty quickly, So Kyle's always been my Green Lantern. I wasn't, Hal Jordan was already off the map. Oh, you're muted, John.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me? Oh, no, I'm good. You scared me.
Oh, okay. Anyway. Supergirl, I'm really interested in. I think the whole off-world stuff.
Well, they were saying that she's going to be darker than Superman, where Superman lands in Kansas and gets adopted and sees American life and all that, where she basically watches everyone that she knows die and lives on like a chunk of Kryptonian, whatever, and then comes to Earth. So she's going to be a darker character. So that'd be kind of fun. And then your favorite, the Authority.
You look at the slate. You step back and look at the slate. There's going to be so much comic book speculation that's going to come out of this stuff and before this stuff. I mean, there's so much to go off. Plus, announcements of future projects.
Right.
It's really going to be interesting to see how it all shapes up. I'm excited about it.
Well, yeah. I was going to say James Gunn's trying to connect the movie world, the TV world, the animation, and the video games. So there's going to be threads going through everything, which is just like a comic book, just like it should be. Not like different studios trying to manhandle one character and make it their own thing and just make a ton of money off of it. So it's doing it for the fans, which is amazing.
I think where the MCU failed with their TV shows was, we really didn't need a full season of some of these characters, right? And I get what they were trying to do with She-Hulk. And I won't say that I didn't enjoy the show. I watched the show and I enjoyed it. I like the actress, Tatiana. I didn't say her last name. But I enjoyed the show. But I wish they would have done like call it like Marvel Presents. Did you ever watch Justice League Unlimited? Just to go back to DC for a second.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So Justice League Unlimited was a hyper-focused episode on these kind of B-C list DC characters. Like one of my favorite episodes was Crowd Control with Booster Gold, which is why the Justice League is fighting the big bad. You see him doing crowd control, but he ultimately saves the day because the real issue, that whole big fight, was a distraction, and he's saving the day on the outskirts. So when the Justice League wraps it up, they're like patting themselves on the back when he was like the one that saved. But then it went into the Demon, Etrigan. They had a whole episode where all the DC characters turned into kids. The Man Who Has Everything, which is where Superman, the star that clings to his chest. Blank, I can't remember names.
It's not Starro. Not Starro.
Is it Starro? I forget. I think it's Starro. But it puts them into his like a state of euphoria. They took these short little stuff pulled from the comics, but like stories that don't kind of fit into the overall narrative. Focus on characters that don't fit in the overall narrative. I wish Marvel would do just a show that was like 12 episodes, hyper focused on, let's say, a whole She-Hulk episode, right? And then bring her into a film, but have all these episodes tie into the main show. I think that was just the problem. We didn't need entire series of some of this stuff.
Right.
We wanted to see the characters that we've already been introduced to. It's kind of crazy to think that it's been. I mean, when was the last time we saw the Eternals? Now 3 years.
About, yeah.
I mean, back then we were getting like, here's Civil War, here's Black Panther. Oh, a couple months later, here's his first film. A couple months later, you get, you're constantly seeing these characters. popping out. It's a problem with having too many. But
do you think
you know,
the studios are just getting kind of greedy and just want to put out a movie just to make money? And they're like, oh, it has
I mean, well, sure. Everyone's the entertainment industry is hurting right now. If people aren't aware of what's going on, these strikes were kind of a big hit. There hasn't been a lot of money in entertainment in terms of, you know, a lot of films, a lot of studios rely on big theatrical releases. And that hasn't been paying off. They've been losing money on this stuff. And they also used to put in like smaller theatricals, romantic comedies, regular comedies, you know, genre-specific films, horror films. Horror films actually was the one genre that I think was doing okay. But, you know, gone were the days where you could release, you know, a $50 million film. And then on top of that, what's that?
And then make back more than 50 million. Yeah.
And then on top of that, the streamers had all the power, but they're controlled by an algorithm, right? Basically, they're told we need to have this many projects, this new film. People really like this. We want these exact elements. That's what people want. And they really serve an algorithm instead of coming up with out of the box thinking. And they're super backlogged because everyone's taking things to these streamers and they're sitting on a huge surplus of undeveloped, you know, in development stuff, which is why when you see a comic book option and you don't hear about it for 3-4 years, it's because it's just sitting there in the backlog of some of these streamers trying to figure out what to do with it.
I wish they'd make like animation, you know, like all remember like DC did some amazing animated stuff that was really adult and like carried the story true to the character. Cool stuff. I wish like Marvel would do more. I know like What If was awesome. Loved What If. But like more of that.
Well, that brings us to what's going on now. You know, now we've had Invincible and we've had X-Men 97, which has blown any animated projects that I've seen, including new Disney films. It's blown everything out of the water just because it's just hitting all like it's fan service. It's not pulling punches. It's having fun with it at the same time. Some Ashen books are just sat on so other studios can't grab them. It is true. That used to be very true. It's less true today because it's because a lot of people don't want to keep these streamers don't want to spend money on stuff that they don't want to hold. So, and the streamers have all the power. So when the studios were involved, yes, that was very much the case. That was the problem with properties like The Crow, RoboCop, a bunch of these popular 80s tropes. People just sat on the IP because they didn't want, you know, anyone to do anything with them. It's a little less so today, but the revenue streams, especially with all the strikes, with everyone getting more of a cut of things, there's less money to do this stuff. Less money means big cuts, you know, across the studios. There's a big reform coming, but right now, adult animation, especially in the comic book world, is doing just fine.
Is it cheaper to do an animated series than a big movie?
Well, now it used to be opposite. It used to be very expensive to do animated films, animated TV shows, especially just because it's, you know, animation has never really been particularly cheap, especially in the early days of mid days of computer based animation. I mean, that stuff, you know, the server requirements, the personnel, all the people to run this stuff is really expensive. But now it's not.
Technology's kind of just a quick aside, you minored in animation, and I did. Yeah. I remember helping you paint your little movie cells because you had like 1,000 that you had to do for one animated thing.
Yeah, traditionally, I did traditional animation. I have like a 5-minute short that we had to do for our senior project. Mine was based pulled from. I don't know if you watched the Street Fighter anime film, the manga film from the late 90s.
Yeah,
with Ryu and Sagat fighting.
Yeah,
it shows Sagat got the scar. It was real. I was kind of mimicked that a little bit, but yeah, no, animation is much more affordable. Primarily, the voice casting is very cheap. So, like,
yeah, right.
you know,
It doesn't have to be that. Well, so I remember I was watching. James Gunn is going to use the same actors as the voice actors across all of them for continuity as well. So
yeah,
hopefully it's cheaper. But like,
well, I mean, they have it planned. They get an overall deal for multiple projects.
Right. I wonder if AI and just like all this stuff that for generating. I wonder if that's been helping animation. Probably, like instead of doing everything.
I think it would be bad news for people to use AI for anything right now without getting.
I mean, just to speed up the process, not to like replace it. But
I think a lot of their processes are pretty much. I mean, there's some level of it's not AI, but there is some automated.
AI is coming, Matt.
But to answer your question, I mean, animation still takes a lot of time. That's the problem. It's like Invincible, the animated show was announced 3 or 4 years ago, and it took about 2 years for it to come out.
Yeah.
But
it'll be fun. I don't know much about The Authority. Do you know? I know you. I think you were excited about that one, right? Coming out. Why that one? Like that's kind of like a weird team that are bad, right?
Well, not bad. They're just. It's kind of like, what if the Justice League weren't wusses, right? Like they didn't pull punches. They just got the job done. It's kind of like the Suicide Squad without being forced to do it.
Their work is their joy.
Yeah. Like Midnighter, they're just bad, badasses. This is Warren Ellis too, right? So
well, what I mean, it's like I haven't seen them in any of the. They are DC, obviously, but are they?
What's that?
Do they fight Superman or something, or
did I say it? Who created? I gotta check myself.
Oh, you're gonna check yourself.
I did the right, because now I'm double guessing myself.
While you're checking, I will say that.
Oh yeah, I'm right. Okay, Warren Ellis, Brian Hitch. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And they're like a super team that like tries to take over the world, kind of thing. And
well, did you ever read Stormwatch? In the early days of Image.
Yeah.
So Stormwatch became the Authority, down the road. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've read a Stormwatch book, but so I can't be definitive on that stuff. But
who created Stormwatch? Is that Liefeld or?
I believe it was also Ellis.
Oh, gotcha.
I believe. Now we gotta check things live. No, it was Jim Lee, Brandon Choi. Oh no, Warren Ellis. Yeah, he was. It was multiple creators, but Warren Ellis was part of it. Yeah.
Will James Gunn try to make the Authority as prominent as Guardians of the Galaxy? I think he's good at like doing superhero teams. Like he's really good at the banter and the humor and like making each one feel weighted enough to be like a part of the thing, not just focusing on one. So yeah, I think he'll probably shine at that. But
my guess is that what they'll do is they'll set up the Authority instead of like a Suicide Squad. They'll set up a whole Authority versus Justice League thing down the road. And then they're gonna clash. They're gonna battle. They're gonna fight. They're gonna, ethics and the right way to do things. It's gonna be like Civil War, right? Then they'll have to work together to defeat, an overall bad guy. Which I would like it if they lean into where's Superman? What's the video game? Not evil Superman.
The one I know which one you're talking about. The in video, like the movie inside.
People. My memory is like absolutely crap.
That's on
Is it the Injustice League, right?
That sounds right. Where Brainiac comes after Lex Luthor kills Superman in the future, and he goes back in time. Yeah,
Injustice. God, thank you. Oh my God. That was probably one of the best things I've read. I loved reading that. And actually, if you watch the cutscenes as a film from Injustice, it's fantastic. It makes a good film on its own.
Yeah.
The whole Elseworld side of, I mean, even if it's an Elseworld project, even if they tap into a sliver of that, I mean, you can't destroy Superman. That's the problem. You can't take him down that path without being able to correct it.
Yeah, that's why it's just the Authority.
Yeah, you can't turn your Messiah-like character,
Evil.
to a killing machine, which is why it's so fun. I mean, again, he wasn't a killing machine. Actually, he was. It was kind of like one of those things where Superman wasn't wrong, but anyways.
Who shot first?
So I think we're good on DC, right?
Yeah. I will say one thing. I am super excited about Swamp Thing. I've always liked Swamp Thing. I think James Gunn did Slither, so he knows horror films as well as team up superhero movies. I think he's going to do a good job keeping it kind of like darker. Same with the Monster Commandos or whatever, the Creature Commandos. I think he's going to do a really good job at like making those characters kind of accessible but also freaky and scary. So,
yeah, I don't know what to do with Swamp Thing. I mean, if they could take it to a dark Justice League, that would be fun. I would like
that. Would be cool. That would be
well.
Really
they were supposed to pre-Gun taking over. That was mentioned in that had its own run of heat and speculation multiple times over the past 6-7 years. So who knows?
Bring in some Constantine, get some Zatanna, and make it happen.
But so I was wrong. It wasn't Sean Levy. It was Bob Iger who commented on so shifting to the MCU. He was asked a lot of questions of what the goal was for Disney and what the goal was for Marvel specifically. And then, quote here, they'll be shifting a focus on quality rather than quantity as part of a strategy across the whole of Disney to do the same. Part of the strategy will dropping down to 2 TV shows a year and its movie output to 2 to 3 a year. So letting more anticipation build for this.
They're gonna see their subscriptions go first of the year, nothing. Second part of the year, it's gonna be bimodal.
Well, I agree. I agree and disagree with what they're doing. The problem wasn't the volume in terms. I mean, it was they are creatively stretched, right? The problem was everything was just it wasn't good enough, right? There are elements where it should have been better, especially the TV show stuff.
It just felt like people who didn't know comic books were making it, and they were making it because they were movie makers, not fans.
Well, a lot of them. There's if you look up on YouTube, there's a series of clips pulled from interviews from all the TV show and film showrunners and directors. And it was a string of them all saying that Marvel didn't want us to read the books, or no, I didn't read the books, or no, I didn't read the character. Marvel instructed them not to read this stuff. And I don't know how much this is true or not, but this is according to what those conversations were.
What would be the motivation for that? Just so that they could create their own character? Why?
Well, if you look at the early days of the MCU, a lot of it was familiar yet fresh, right? So you weren't going into a film knowing exactly what was going to happen. There were going to be surprises. You were going to get a new story disconnected from the comic books, but that kind of walked in line with it, right? And for the most part, that's true. But it definitely diverged by Endgame. You couldn't point to Endgame and say this was an exact replica of what would happen in Infinity Wars, right?
Yeah.
Even though there's moments captured from that stuff, and it's hard to say. Like, I wouldn't call those films. I wish they'd followed the comic books, because what they did up to Endgame was fantastic. They built something original, something fresh, something that stood out. So I think they went into that thinking of, hey, let's keep doing something original instead of leaning on the comics. To do Secret Invasion properly, they should have been weaving that in 10 years ago, right? Or like from the beginning, and then crept up those elements. So the fact that was so rushed, and that was one of my favorite event books, of that Marvel did. And the fact that they rushed through it so fast was heartbreaking. Because
I was in the theater. I was in the theater with you though. Like that was an amazing movie. Like that, everyone was.
What one?
Endgame.
Yeah, Endgame. I mean, we're talking about Secret Invasion though. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I thought you were still on Endgame. I was just going to say, yeah.
No. Well, I mean, Endgame was perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it was absolutely perfect. Yeah. I mean, you could. I rewatch the Captain Mjolnir scene at least once a month, just for.
I dream about that scene. I wake up going like this and going, oh, yeah, nothing.
And I do. After watching that, I do ask myself why they don't do more of that, because but then when you watch it, you realize how much talking there is. Like when you rewatch it, you're in it when you're there in the theater, but then when you rewatch it, you're like, wow, there's a lot more talking in this film than I realized.
The only reason it worked is we had a decade of like building up our love of a character and multiple characters and knowing them instead of having them all pushed into one movie that tried to make $1 billion, So.
Yeah, goosebumps of that cave scene. I mean, it really is. It really was good. I mean, so moving forward, I think what they tried to do was start over a post Endgame. They're like, let's reboot a little bit. Let's let these characters breathe. If they would have stepped back with the Eternals and weaved them in, all the stuff up to Endgame and showed them more in more detail, having been present, even having been the ones that affected the outcome, if you played with the history a little bit, while keeping the moment of Iron Man saving the day. Like you keep those little moments protected, right? But you show them having a secret hand through it all. I think that would have been better than this. I really, what I hate in any film is always leaning to a group of monsters as the big bad, right? It which is like in the Eternals, they were, I forget what did they call them?
Celestials.
No, not the Celestials. Those are the big.
Oh, the
Deviants.
Deviants. Yeah, there you
go. Yeah, I mean, I get what they were doing, but it was like I don't like relying on monsters. And you can even look at the Avengers film and how it relied on all those all the Loki's horde of aliens. Was still a little. I liked the exception was Ultron, having all the control of all the bots and stuff. That's kind of one of those exceptions.
Well, it's like Bastion controlling all the Sentinels. It's still him kind of thing,
Yeah, and it's like Thanos, mastering his horde too. I just didn't like the Eternals. It was just a little lackluster. But at the same time, I still want to see those characters reappear, right? I would have liked to see. It's kind of like what they should have responded to. I would have forced them down our throats a little bit more, in a more creative, smart ways. So we could have accepted the Eternals. And the Eternals is not a bad film when you rewatch it. It's the characters are interesting. I like their powers. It's a really pretty film. It's just the villains were lackluster, and the story was generally just not deep enough.
Right.
And it was not the best film to launch post Endgame. So
yeah,
but
agreed. You just came off of a high, and now you're trying to get back into this whole team thing without knowing who they are, kind of caring, But now, if they tied it into Endgame, if they actually said I was there at Endgame, I was watching, and you did yet another angle of another dimension of that would have been cool.
Yeah,
but we have about.
Oh yeah, the Celestial sticking out of the ocean that no one wants to acknowledge. Yeah, I mean it's very true. There's a lot of things that I'm hoping. So this is actually what we're going to get to, John. Before we get into that, this is a long way to get to that. What we're trying to do is the Deadpool 3 is promised to quote reset things. Whether they do or not, it's hard to know. I did enjoy Deadpool 1. I enjoyed Deadpool 2 a little less because I guess the jokes get a little too much for
I
it's a
feel
little,
the same way. By the way, what I just showed was not the official slate, just kind of a fan slate, but
yeah, there's a fan
but Deadpool 3's on there. So, but
that slate's completely fit because they haven't even announced Doom in any capacity. Right. Doom and his Doom bots. I know we probably won't get Doom bots after Ultron, but maybe. But Doom is such a good villain.
No, but
I mean, such.
Wait, go back to Deadpool though. So
anyways, I know I went off subject. Okay. But I really do. If they promise that Deadpool's going to be this page turner event, as long as they kind of don't go back into the Thor as a comedic character again, which is what they did with Gore, the whole Gore film, Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that the whole film doesn't become a joke with Deadpool in it. I would like to see elements of Deadpool being serious because he has shown that in the comic books. And when he's focused and serious, he's dangerous, And that's the thing that I think the films haven't captured perfectly. Like he is absolutely not someone to mess with. The fact that he's just so jokey and lighthearted kind of takes the sting away from, he's kind of like the Spider-Man thing. Where part of his power was his jokes, but I do think I hope that'll be a page turner. I hope that this new plan will help Feige and the creative team to focus. I do believe that the whole slate is going to be completely redone.
They got rid of Jonathan Masters because of the whole assault charge. He got convicted, so no longer Kang Dynasty. Now it's Avengers 5.
Well, King might be out. They've talked about that. There's recastings. They're talking about the X-Men being another off-world thing. The fact that the Fantastic Four is happening in the 60s. Is it the 60s or the 50s? I think the 60s, right? Mm-hmm. I love the aesthetic, but it's kind of hard to see how it all will piece together, which I'm sure they have. But it already sounds more interesting than what they did. I mean, I would love a whole pocket universe thing if they're like, hey, Franklin Richard pocketed us all into this, did the whole pocket universe thing. That would be awesome.
That would be cool. That'd be freaking cool.
Yeah. What can you imagine launching the next phase off of Heroes Reborn? One of the most hated storylines ever. But Chase Circle Chase is fantastic. His name is X1. So anyways, yes, I want to do the giveaway, right?
Right. So again, we're doing Feral Ashcan #1. Pretty nice.
If you're a Stray Dogs fan, if you're a Feral fan, the series is fun.
So to enter, all you got to do is #Supersuit. Type in #Supersuit in the comments, and you will be entered. And we'll go ahead and do that in a little bit. But
how many people are in the comments right now?
I don't even know. I don't think it says. But let's see. You have a pretty good chance of winning.
We have 18 watching now. So you have a 1 in 18 chance of winning the book. Like pretty darn good odds. Like in every show, we give away a $75 book. It's kind of like, show up and you have really good odds.
And we appreciate you guys spending a little time on Friday with us. If you have any ideas or anything you want us to talk about or address or whatever, shoot us an email, info@coverprice or john@coverprice.com, matt@coverprice.com. We will add it and talk about it if you want us to.
So as we add this, we're kind of pulling this together. We're going to start seeing, especially the second that MCU slate, an updated slate is sent out, you're going to just see a barrage of aftermarket sales, and you're going to see a lot of people commenting, that how comics are back. I guarantee it. The second that announces, it'll be like a surge.
Yeah.
It's just for now, Marvel's been quiet, which is the primary focus in comic books. So of course it feels down.
As soon as they get one hit, like one movie that it's back, like Deadpool and Wolverine would be that, like, okay, now here we go.
I mean, the fact that you look at X-Men 97, how many books are moving because of X-Men 97? I mean, it's a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that show is so good. If you guys are not, everyone here is watching it. What am I saying? Of course you're watching it. It is so good. So good.
I mean, Onslaught was moving because there was like a song at the end of episode 7 with the giant purple people eater, right?
Yeah.
And people were like, Onslaught.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. That's pretty clever. That's pretty clever.
They're like, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't not do that on purpose.
Well, that was the Reservoir Dogs scene, right? Where he shaves him and he's torturing him. Like that.
Wasn't that a different song?
Different song, yeah, that was a different song. But the whole thing where he's shaving him and he's tied, that whole scene of like how creepy it is to have the villain or bad guy shave you, like that's nuts.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
But yeah, Purple People Eater. It's funny. I thought that was a weird choice, and now it all clicks. Like yeah.
No, people are like, it's Onslaught. They're talking about Onslaught.
All right, guys, keep putting in hashtag Supersuit if you want to be entered. Only you just need to do it once. If you do it twice, it doesn't put you in twice. Our system is smart. Don't forget also to like and subscribe. If you're not, it helps us out and it boosts the channel. So
yeah, and you know, the more we grow, the more we'll do with this channel, the more we'll do with this show. It'll be better. So if you want a better show.
We might have special effects, sound. We might have
people on. Yeah.
Oh, and I guess that's a good question. Is last time I wasn't here, Matt had a few people on. The time before that, Matt wasn't here, and I had a few people on. Do you guys like guest appearances and more conversation with other amazing comic book folks?
Hey, we got 23. So we got 25 now. We got some people jumping in just for the giveaway. They're like, I've been waiting for this book.
Smart. Hashtag Supersuit, and you'll be entered.
And if there's a book that you want us to give away, especially recents, because we're pulling from what's that? You let us know what book you want us to give away, and we'll hunt it down.
You're gonna get some crazy requests. Like you just broadly said, any book you want, we'll give it.
Of new releases, releases. Stuff that's findable that I don't have to go out and spend $150 in. Yeah, Black Crown was awesome. Black Crown's in the chat. We asked Black Crown back tonight, but at the last minute, and they were at dinner. How dare they, be a family and be at dinner and not available?
Priorities. Wait, we don't like eating dinner? No.
I know my family just texted me. They're like, "It's 6:30. You said you're off at 6:30."
Awesome. All right, so let's give it another minute, and then we are going to do the giveaway. Yeah. Again, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's always fun. I'm going to bring this up. All right, here we go. So if you win, reach out to us on Instagram. Or you can email me, John at Cover Price, and just tell me you won, and I'll be able to connect that to your username, and then we'll be able to check there. So you have to be a Cover Price member, though, if you're going to do it that way.
When I have it in hand, I'm actually caught up on shipping stuff out.
Yeah, we just Matt just shipped everything out. So thank you, Matt.
Yes. So I will ship this out Monday.
All right. All right, guys. Last chance. Hashtag Supersuit. 5, 4, 3, 2, and here we go. Who's it gonna be? All right. Zabit.
That was a hang right there.
Yeah. Some Savage Dragon love too. I love it.
Hey, X is gonna give it to you.
So Zabit, if you are in the chat still, say hi and let us know if you can reach out to us on Instagram or if you're going to reach out to us directly via email. And we will go from there. All right.
Is X here?
All right, let's see. There he is. Hey, Zabit.
Hello. So, yeah. There you go. Congrats, man.
You can either reach out to us on Instagram and tell us you won. I'm writing your name down here, but also you can reach out to me, John at Cover Price, JOHN at Cover, right there on the screen. .com, and just tell us your username so I can verify that it's you, so we don't get a bunch of other people pretending to be you, and we'll go from there. All right, buddy?
Cool.
All right, everyone. Happy Friday.
Right,
Keep your comics covered. We're trying to work on an outro. We don't have an outro yet.
Keep on collecting. Buy those comics. Yeah, we need a good I hate the catchphrases too at the same time. So let's keep it terrible.
Sounds good. All right, everyone. Have a great Friday. Thanks, Matt.
All right, cool.